Now, proceeding forth here to get this wrapped up and concluded on a couple more points and more serious evidence. Lecture B of the Born Again Israelites YouTube channel of the Risen with Christ Ministries network, shall we say. They have taught their followers who agree to their indoctrinations to tell the women to go speak insults and the such in the effort to try to control the men. Anyone who knows about hate and racism will know for certainty that in the day of Jim Crow, and especially before that, the same system that is illegal and also contrary to the true justice system has taught the women to oppress moral, upright men whom all nations can agree, of all backgrounds, to choose to do the good, even first unto themselves and even unto their neighbors, to treat others as they would have them to treat themselves, to treat them as well too in return. So these who are exemplified of what all forms of law and all forms of government that follow morality, what is good, upright, and true, and just, in every form of virtue, right teaching, and sound instruction, and so forth. These have been not only ostracized, but criminal activity has been done in the effort to do harm to them. So the same individual, Lester B., they have done criminal activities like the others mentioned and not mentioned to tell the women or the supposed women to go threaten and insult the men. And again, this same form of criminal activity has been replicated since slavery days. And those who pick up the book and exemplify and declare their form of law, justice, and morality comes from that book, the source of all, especially of all instruction. They should know that they not only do it to these who are the example of that book demonstrated and expressed, but they also do it to them who gave breath, life, creation, structure, and all that we have, all that is visible, invisible, those things that are tangible, intangible, as well as those that are plainly and clearly before you, and as well as the things that are hidden and must be sought out, even revealed to those, but the judge of judges, the master of masters, the king of kings, whom it is known as the Father who made us all and made all creation here, and so forth, waiting for his children, all of his children, that they may choose his plan of happiness. And the agreement to those who receive and believe that they also have power given to them to walk no longer after the animalistic nature, but civilly be made anew, sealed and certified and written in a record by Him that is also known as the Book of Life, and also authority to resist and speak against the evil that is clearly manifest in this plane of existence, and the evil that is lingering on in the invisible, the unseen, that can be resisted and spoken against, to be stopped, pushed back, and even overturned, so that good may come forth instead. Now, not only has the individual of Yad the Source of Glory have done this, but also much sooner did Christina here being used to be thrown at me. And for those who do not understand proper instruction, while they claim to read that book, the scriptures, again, the same book that all agree and consent to, and have used even for their purpose, even for the creation of this form of government that is so, well, this counterfeit form of court of law is being pursued, assumed, and attempted to be put forth. This same book that these individuals claim that they read up from failed to practice it because of what many know by plain terms. They show hatred and they do not comprehend love. The love that comes from the Father. So as a result, these deeds of theirs are not only of hatred and evil, they are more specifically and especially criminal in nature, even to the highest degrees of criminal activity. Now let's proceed, the more so. Now this example here is informing them with right intent and showing positive communication, and over the process they struggle with the evil in their heart, and so they declined further communication at some point. People have been tormented and have went to psychiatrists, the pharmacist, mentors, and anything they can to alleviate and numb the pain, instead of getting freedom from where people know best to get it from, and whom they can talk to be used in the dispensing of that purpose, not of their own, but was delegated, given, and brought forth and put through them, not for their own credit, but the credit to Him who made all. Now here, this is where they have pulled back because their evil intention has failed. The evil in their heart has failed. So as a result, they have pulled back from communication afterwards. Usually, those who get flustered, angry, taught hatred, not only are confused when they're given a certain narrative, only one side of the story, but they assume it, and when they, in the lack of their character, fail to correct themselves, they pull away and go back to those who are criminal in their intentions to stir them up to do evil, and of course engage in criminal activity. Now this year, this is a different individual here. What's being shown here is that this individual who goes by the alias of Big Judah has lied to and manipulated, used false advertisement and false claims and so forth to not only enrich himself, but to gain a mass following, to influence that large following of his with lies and inflammatory speech, fighting words, to engage in his illegal and criminal activities that he discreetly and also uses in speech by code to get people involved in evil towards America. And the Constitution itself, on its own level of law, does warn you about enemies, foreign and domestic. Those who imagine to do evil in conventional ways that are known of, as well as the unconventional ways, where they come together, they stir up evil thoughts, and they speak evil against a country, even America itself, hoping to bring forth their evil deception and what they have been indoctrinated into to cause evil to pass. Yet their intentions have been held back and has fallen short. And then this person who came forth to reveal this information revealed that Big Judah is part of a hate group. Now, some of these hate groups out here are very discreet and operate at certain phases. They wait for societal collapse to show who they are in full, while others behind the scenes, such as those like Jim Jones and their types, they speak with great swelling words that are empty and are flatteries, but behind the scenes, off camera and in person, especially on their private properties, they are criminals, and they have much evil to do, criminal intent towards others, to show that they, left unrestrained and presumed to think that they are allowed to do so without the judgments of proper law and due process, they think they can proceed in these things to show that they are not only greatly lacking and greatly discredited in their character, the representation of themselves, and so forth, they are also domestic terrorist cells, criminals, and organized crime in its own form and design and function. So this person who's come forth has revealed that Big Judah is not to be trusted nor credited, and is to be put to specific process and information gathered on them accordingly to hold them accountable in proper legal proceedings if it be given into that route. Now Lester B here, they have worked with evil individuals, again, to lie against people and disturb an evil crowd. And of course, their followers, who one in particular, Michael F. here, who goes by Brother Mike, they like to stir up drama, strife, be a false accuser, and to do many criminal activities. They have communicated in a video days ago, or shall we say weeks ago, not too long ago actually, that Michael F. does not care what he does. His family are criminals, and he enjoys being a criminal, so he will lie and stir up drama. And of course, people have addressed him accordingly, only to find out who he really is. That Lester B has been lying about his so-called ministry/business. He has been using the scriptures to lure in people and to make merchandise off of them through his PayPal and his other forms such as Cash App and so forth for financial gain. Well, behind the scenes, even though he presents himself one way on the camera, he is a very untrustworthy and very evil and criminal individual. Now let's proceed. Now here's another individual who's also partaken of all this scamming that's been going around through the internet and using aggressive means and lying to hide their other criminal activities, such as enslaving people, making them work for little to no wages, and especially committing, shall we say, the violation towards a female by forcing himself onto her. He has committed such connected activities to the act of forcing himself onto a woman, or at least a female. Randy R. Now, Randy R's business he is hid behind. Covenants, the Covenant Homestead is his front. He's misusing his religious front and then hiding behind his boastings and false claims of his workmanship. And of course here, in this partially redacted piece of evidence, his HVAC mechanical license in Kentucky is inactive, and it's been so for over, shall we say, about coming close to 2 years in that range. Now for Lester B, here's where the credibility goes out the window. So at first they presented themselves as a well-spoken, well-dressed, and well-groomed, and well-read identity, shall we say? An alias, a front. Now we're going to see what they do off camera. Now that has to be pulled back there. Now for this right here, this is going to go towards someone else I mentioned, who's also part of this group of these networks of scammers, these group of scammers and groups that network with one way or another. So this is in reference to Floridian Rollo, as well as the individual who goes by New Breed, Global Truth, and especially Selena, her so-called name. These individuals, they do skits, they make people think what they're doing is serious, and then they really think that they're actually, it's like reality TV, shall we say, like well staged and well acted, because if people were really experiencing those things, they would have taken legal proceedings and avoided each other if they could not come to a decent conclusion to resolve their differences. So these are going to go to other individuals and go right back to reference to Lester B. So Brainwaves, the song, has presented himself as one way on the internet, but the history is greatly contrary, greatly contradicting to who they proclaim to be over the past year, shall we say. They have changed, and they have so-called renounced their previous association, and they have deceived by lying and being manipulative and leading other people into forms of other criminal activity, such as harassment. That would include making multiple videos week in and week out about New Breed, as well as Donald of Wrinkle TV Reactions and Floridian Rollo. Them making harassment videos and just the back and forth and other things they have gone to people involved in. In addition, the song has claimed to be a cop. Impersonating a cop, that's right, there's a serious criminal charge for impersonating a cop, especially a law enforcement officer, especially on the internet. Now, Floridian Rollo is also a scammer, They put forth false claims and so forth, claiming to be from a rich family, to have all these connections to high society people, as well as claiming they know how to do different skills to help people become entrepreneurs and business people and so forth. And then in turn, they're out there in Florida doing manual everyday tasks such as DoorDash, being a valet driver and so forth, or they was a valet driver. And then there's other areas where they have made false claims in the effort to get people's money. All of them, to some degree, making people think if they were to give money, they would be supporting the work of what's written in the New Testament on the second portion of the scriptures. They have also lied and gave a false statement there in the effort to get people's money. Now again, there's two things to plug into here to bring to remembrance. Floridian Rollo, their YouTube alias or their social media alias, has been recorded of the victim's report of what he's done to the victim, a woman whom he was bigger and taller than her and forced himself onto her. And also, not only did he wanted to go to make a trip to Texas and demand the woman, shall we say, of the faith, but also Selena. So he wanted to force himself, that's right, Floridian Rollo wanted to force himself onto other women to do more criminal activities unto them. And because that did not transpire, but the two avoided him, he became enraged. And then when the recorded social media live stream conversation was recorded of the victim, the previous victim, the woman mentioned, who was forced on some time ago by Floridian Rollo, came out, it stirred him up in fear. So he had to do what he can to move out of New York City to get away from his other undisclosed criminal activities that he's committed in the past, his criminal past, and try to hide with a different alias and his statements to hide behind the front, to deceive and lie and make false claims and so forth. And also he has made threats against the life and has had others trouble, harass, and make threats as well too, either directly or indirectly, as well as to gain stock, and furthermore, to especially say, do things, tap their emails, tap their IP address, and so forth. Many cyber crimes, including cyber stalking and as such, that has been documented as well too and stored up. And others have been, because they are part of the entertainment field, have been influenced to go harass and to communicate also terrible things that should not be communicated towards the women of the faith. And they have gone together to harass her through the internet and make threats against her life. More than once, altogether. So as a result, this is also being brought up here too, because these other, shall we say, ladies, such as Yada Source of Glory and Selena, who goes by Selena G, shall we say, they, as well as others out there, have been in agreements to do their actions and to not report each other, nor what they say to break code. In other words, to go report one another when they are doing serious criminal activities. So they have consented and agreed to do criminal activities together. And because Dasan, who goes by the YouTube channel and social media alias of Brainwaves, claims to be a cop and have connections into the court system in the efforts to fix, cheat, and even throw out court trials from his level of law that is beneath. They altogether have, what's the word again? Premeditated many of these criminal activities, and that it adds these many criminal activities into higher levels of offenses. Such as premeditated harassment, gang stalking, gathering of sensitive information, stealing, also making harassment attempts and making severe statements against the woman of the faith to such a level that they were not only harassing her by the internet, they were also individuals out there have tried to stalk her in person. As well as mentioned on my end, someone has tried to follow me in traffic for a couple minutes and within at least 2 circuits in that range before they drove off to where they drove and I drove to where I had to drive off to instead. And that strange occurrence where someone was driving behind me, and because it was a tight slowdown, but there was still plenty of seconds of space between the back bumper of my vehicle and the front bumper of their vehicle by a couple seconds. Instead of driving responsibly, that other individual decided to road rage against me, to tailgate and get behind me aggressively as if they wanted or attempted to try to ram my vehicle or the vehicle I was using, and then drove to get ahead of me. From what I recall, in other words, they roared rage against me, and I had to pull off somewhere else, off the road, to get away from them. Well, they drove off to where they drove. I did not see the individual in person who road raged behind me, but I did park behind the site of the buildings at the back parking lot instead of the main parking lot. And I say the back parking lot as in there's a stretch of back parking for the staff who work in those buildings. So yeah, these individuals have not only done criminal activity towards me, but also this woman of the faith as well too. That was earlier mentioned in this whole recording. Now again, Florine Rollo has over the time tried to hide their false narrative they have been selling to people and marketing to them by trying to get them to follow his entrepreneur blueprint of driving DoorDash, Uber, if that's correct, and then be a social media influencer, or in other words, to make videos on YouTube to get monetized and receive money from not only from YouTube, but people who would eventually send money in that area too. In other words, being a con man. Now back to Lester B here. They are involved with groups that have evil intentions that lead to criminal activities, either directly or indirectly. This is to show their true character and intent, because Lester B has joined this social media group here on Facebook. Now, for those who understand, that is witchcraft and that is evil stuff. Where it causes criminal activity in the world, the use of it on people is also criminal activity because it leads to other criminal behavior from those who are influenced by such. So altogether, not only is it evil, but it's criminal because of the results from it. And again, Lester B, associated off camera, outside of his online so-called ministry, to be involved in evil groups. They influence the minds of people to get them to go out there and do criminal activities. More evidence. All that occult stuff is not only, again, evil, it leads to criminal activity and the harm of those affected by it. But the first-hand user that influences the minds, but also third-hand of those who are affected by the deception. Now for Michael F. here, through their Brother Mike YouTube channel, they, again, have made egregious defamation. Then they have turned around and deleted their videos because Michael F. has made threats against the life of, shall we say, Brother Barack. So this video there, they took it down. Brother Mike has had videos missing, so that's destroying of evidence, and he's had some of it unlisted, so it's on his personal database. Now someone who's a brother has communicated to Michael F. in a informal manner. And what has happened is based on the reports they have given to me. Michael F. has made threats against the life of this brother also. So Michael F. cannot be entrusted to be in the public space anymore, especially after their multiple criminal activities and accusations. On the informal note that is protected by free speech in all areas of freedom of communication and so forth, you just cannot take the character of Michael F. seriously. Now this brother here, this man in the faith, has addressed not only Michael F., but also Lester as well too, showing that both of these criminals are not sincere, but are using a front and deceiving and leading the people astray to influence their minds to do criminal activities and be part of their associations, to be accessories to the criminal activity and validate what they do and say, and in turn to use them for financial gain, to persuade them through their false advertisement, false statements and so forth, even their defamation and quote-unquote character, tearing down their characters for financial gain and their own desires. More evidence. Lester B. of the Born Again Israelites YouTube channel is a false accuser and has made wild and false claims against Pastor Rufus, because Lester B. was nowhere at the location of the past incident that was mentioned through this message here, as well as what can be found in Lester B.'s videos of his YouTube channel, Born Again Israelites. So since he was not there and he was making assumptions and assertions and so forth, Lester B.'s added unto himself additional criminal charges that pertain to that misconduct and misrepresentation, including defamation on higher levels, because he stirred up many people and as well as recorded Pastor Rufus to twist his words in an effort to try to incriminate him. That's right, to try to cause unlawful incarceration. Lester B. had premeditated intents to falsify evidence in the attempt to cause people to be incarcerated and in jail and penalized. So Lester B. has very high charges against him that is standing in this matter. Now, Lester B.'s mentor, who goes by the YouTube channel name Blaze Judah, has taught Lester B. to be who he is. That's what he claims to be, but he's part of a hate group. Big Judah and Lester B. are part of a hate group. A hate group that will stir up trouble and cause damages and, if possible, resort to violence and the harm of others against their free will and without justification in the realm of law, shall we say. So Blaze Judah has taught Lester B. to be a religious extremist. Evidence here. Celestia B goes by the YouTube channel alias Karatazar. Is associated with this other YouTube channel. Is he just as racist as his person's YouTube channel with a hatred against white and Hispanic people? Now this matter of fact has to be affirmed. Certified, reaffirmed, and made clear. Those who go by the cultural, the identity, and the character of the people of Israel from the scriptures that you read that has been used to form your many laws in civilization and so forth, and technology in other areas and such, and proceeding forth. These people, the real people of the scriptures, are supposed to be a people of love, a people who are civilized, and the example that others should learn by, that they may also enjoy the good things of following the like example authentically, because some out here, shall we say, COINTELPRO, and others like unto them, there are hate groups and exemplify criminal activities to the detriment of others, and try to frame certain people as their scapegoat to do these criminal activities against others. Hebrew Israelites have nothing to do with these hate groups, nothing to do with these criminal organizations, nothing to do with scammers and such. In fact, for layman's terms, some people out here love their black brothers and black sisters, their black neighbors. In other words, their brown-skinned brothers and sisters, even their neighbors. Whites, Europeans, as well as Hispanics, mulattoes of the European group as well too, also have enjoyed the benefits of having brown-skinned brothers and sisters, and even neighbors and friends. But this individual here, Blaze Judah, the teacher of Lester B, further revealing the true character and nature of Lester B, has exemplified they are an imposter, a scam artist, and not who they say they are, while claiming this reputable title. So it's revealed by this evidence here. Lester B, left unchecked, is intended to become a Jim Jones type of criminal. And he has connections out of the country, potentially with a ministry that's from England. So he's had connections to get him to where he is. And again, making false allegations, defamation of character towards Pastor Rufus and others who have made the effort to resolve, mediate, and search out the truth of the matter. As a result, Lester B, like others, has raised up an unruly multitude unto evil onto criminal activity. Now, the Risen with Christ Ministries from London with a YouTube channel showing his connections there outside the country. So Lester B, in the already shown here, his allegiance is not within the right jurisdiction, but in a foreign body. For those who are proper and upright American, even states, and so forth, who reside on this land with proper citizenship and papers and so forth, and a tent and the such, their allegiance is first and foremost to the Father who's in heaven, if they have received and believed. And according to that same document, the scriptures, they are supposed to behave as citizens, and if it be given to them, to seek the peace and the good of this country that they reside on. However, Lester B, claiming to be a Christian and then assuming the title, the exemplified title, not only is it two things being put together as one for an attempt for attention in this attempt, but it's also through this whole process here, showing that his allegiance is outside this country, and if it continues to go and escalate and get any further, become a hostile presence towards the land of America. In other words, making a significantly large terrorist cell, a criminal organization set against America, like unto the Somalis that have come over here, and others who have come to this land to get involved into criminal organizations and cause trouble and loss unto others through their networks and groups. And again, showing how they have changed from one popular so-called trend into another for financial gain, as well as to influence the minds of others so that they may influence them by telling them to go out there and do evil and criminal activity. Now, onto Dasan, who goes by the YouTube channel or the social media title Brainwaves, Advice Topics LLC. This will greatly show to you who they really are. Now, this is part of their curriculum, what they promise unto others. They also, just like Lester B, have claimed to go by the scriptures, but here, both of them are contrary to it. Learning how to do evil and influence the minds of people evilly, like unto Jim Jones, to go out there and do criminal activities. And because of their many intents, they have gained major revenue Donald W. of the Ringo TV Reactions YouTube channel there, making between $14,000 to $41,000 a month. So obviously he has great revenue from his criminal activities in history. And of course, in the sum of this, him and the others, especially those whom he potentially has been financing, by the looks of it, and by the nature of it, those whom he has been financing, they all together should be able to fund and satisfy the price, the cost, and even the damages and the losses they have caused unto others, even into the range of the millions of dollars. All of them should be able to afford it and satisfy that charge. Or shall we say, the total charge of all the many charges and all the deficits, losses, and so forth of each man and woman who's been affected, including his student who's also learned his mischievous criminal activity, New Breed, of New Breed Global Truth. And New Breed is his social media alias. Brainwaves, he still gets money behind the scenes but has not had it reported. And again, the song of the Brainwaves alias still is into the new age to evilly affect the minds of people, to get them to get them involved in criminal activity. In worst case, because of his services that he offers, while claiming to be of the scriptures, is also making him fraudulent in his character, in his intents, and so forth, because of his many lies he has spoken and attempted by his yelling and hollering and smooth words and great speech to deceive people into giving him money to scam them and get them involved in his criminal activity. And also, Donald has followed in likewise manner, just like the behavior of those like unto narcissists, those who have narcissistic personality disorder in its different forms, and especially the behavior like unto Jim Jones and so forth. When people communicate to them as a brother or a sister towards them, he shuts them down, he insults them, and blocks them from his live streams and his comment sections. You can go there now to his mini videos. You will see him insulting people left and right. And if you listened for yourself, he has insulted people left and right to justify his bad behavior that leads into criminal activity. UP Farms through New Breed, all of them were supposed to be like Straightway Truth Ministry with its Jim Jones type of homesteading, where the people go there, they sign NDAs. That's right, even UP Farms would try to have people sign NDAs and agreements to certain laws that they had to live by in those lands. And they refuse to live by those laws that are outside of sound judgment and sound proceedings. They would kick them off or remove them from their properties and refuse to give them back their wealth, their money, finances, assets, and so forth. Again, Donald, the son, Floridian Rollo, and others who were with New Breed were supposed to start up a homestead that was going to be used to trap people and lure them in so they can scam them, enslave them, and use them for gain and benefit, kick them out, and use them up. And if possible, like others, just like unto Jim Jones and other narcissists in the world, when they get rid of them, speak defamation, insults, and do whatever they can to cause them to suffer when they are removed from those purchased properties or lands. So New Breed, because of the drama they begin, all they can do is use it as a front to sell merchandise, to sell fraudulently to people with the claim of this and that about it. So false advertisement, false statements, and all the other such things. So again, they have claimed that they have done this legally and that legally towards one another, all for clicks and views, and for anyone to feel sorry for them from the narratives that they have given, the rhetoric, to send them money, to scam them the more so. Now this right here, DeSaulles has lied about his website not being able to access it, when clearly he can go back to it anytime. Now look at this, going against the same scriptures that he claims to go by turning around to do and surface people in evil stuff, the dark arts, the occult, witchcraft, in the hopes of getting, and what's this, $100, $50, $300 for consultations, and he is hidden it behind biblical consulting, and even now tries to use biblical consulting to hide his track record of who he really is, for the scam artist that he is. DeSaulles has his URL hidden like Karatasar hid his online classes. They are criminals and hiding their true nature to deceive the unsuspecting. If anything, DeSaulles instructs contrary to the scriptures. The URL in the clips so you can see the receipts for yourself, the evidence, all the way back to as late as, or at least until May 2023. Now this shall be briefly zoomed in here. And of course, because of the coloring of the background, it's meant to keep you focused, so you have to spend time to read through it, to see the letters. And read it carefully so you can see the letters are shaded and distorted by the color tone. In addition, they claiming to be a cop or a law enforcement officer, then claiming this and claiming that other thing that will be mentioned or that was referred to discreetly, How are they a cop, yet they are playing video games to be watched on the internet? What kind of law enforcement officer with a supposed wife and son is busy playing video games and making YouTube videos for who knows how long? Daily, weekly, monthly, and yearly. Unless the lifestyle he's presenting on the internet is also fraudulent. Now this is his LinkedIn. Now his LLC, this will also surprise you as well too. Ambassador. Now, if you read the scriptures, especially the second half in the New Testament, where it's called the letters, there is no title of ambassador. So that's a red flag right there. And it's in Atlanta, Georgia. Also beginning his little LLC as a supposed legal front that he can hide behind to do his criminal activities behind a so-called corporate veil. Also in Atlanta and all these other things in Atlanta. Since he has a history, or shall we say a record, of lying through his many videos and claims that he's made and so forth, is his history here also fraudulent as well too? Are these lies? Or did he fix it to promote himself in such a light? Ring the song. Hold on. Donald and Nor Newbreed have LinkedIn profiles. Brainwaves is a professional content creator. Even got an LLC. He, like those other two, are in it for the money. His Christian hip-hop career didn't pan out. Website no longer is valid. Old website when he was doing music ministry for coins. There's a difference between a prosperity preacher and a money preacher. Someone who is just trying to get money but not help the people. That's a money preacher. And money preachers, they will go so far as to do criminal activities and commit fraud and so forth, just to enrich themselves and lie to others if they can't possible. This is being scrolled from left to right here for the allowance of fully viewing this here. So if it has to be recorded of such businesses to verify his back history, or if this is all been, shall we say, of the worst, it doesn't hurt to call someone's past employer to verify these statements and these points are true or false, is it? It's legal. It's usually acceptable, as we know. What do we have here? Owner, hip-hop artist, writer, producer, and actor. He definitely knows how to act. He blinks his eyes a lot. He hollers and shouts and says a whole bunch of empty words that will and can be used against him in legal proceedings and so forth. For those who understand body language and they know how to analyze body language, when someone blinks like crazy when they're making claims, there's a chance they may be lying. They may be lying and trying to deceive you. Now here's the home run hitter, shall we say. This is the grand slam right here. Anyone who has ever watched baseball at least once or twice and, got to hear and have it explained to them will know what that means. His Christian hip-hop career didn't pan out. Website no longer is valid. Old website when he was doing music ministry for coins. So that one went bye-bye. So he's using that alias, but he's hiding behind a religious front. If it's so self-focused like this, you know what we also have here, people? A narcissistic personality disorder also operating through and in the song. As with Donald and others in this group as well too, who are associated with them. Lovers of themselves, and they love to flatter each other for benefit and gain. Now this is much more clearer. How are souls being won for the kingdom of heaven if it's all about this guy? Or this individual, shall we say? February 7, 2011. And that's just a excerpt from it. Okay. There's another one that's being investigated. Gospel Ranch Records LLC, 2005 and so forth, if that's even relevant. So, how was this individual a successful music artist if they had to leave that business to go make money somewhere else? A little honesty, or sufficient amount of honesty to say they tried something, it didn't go as it planned, is better than saying whatever and lying about it, like others who are dishonest and cannot be trusted would do, but most importantly, attempts to push continually. May 29th, is that 2023? That's not good at all. That's bad. As recent of 2023, the song claims to be a light healer, third generation occult practitioner, etc. So this verifies that the song is into many fraudulent doings and has lied a lot about who he was and what he's doing now. Shifting, shall we say? Shape shifting to meet the opportunity to lie to people and make gain and benefit out of them. There's also many charges associated with such behavior. Now this right here, let's make it very clear. You cannot mix evil with good. You cannot mix light with darkness. You cannot mix those things that are good, just, and true with the corrupt, polluted, and defiled. This right here verifies that they are teaching and informing and servicing people wrong for gain and financial benefit, even all the way to 2023. And they have tried to sweep it underneath the rug. Now let's take this back into full circuit and to conclusion. Before I do that, let's find something else here real quick. Now let's make this very concrete. You cannot go to the left, the right, above, beneath, or straight down the middle of it. It's right here, solid, in place. We're going to verify this fact right here. There's a common behavior of scammers where they lie, they cheat people, and they even cheat the government on different levels when possible. And when you see what they're doing and hear what they're doing and saying, and you can articulate it for what it is, and you start to put light to it, to reveal what they are doing in secret that is criminal in nature. What happens is that scammers have a mindset, a behavior to try to get law enforcement on the person doing a public work, shall we say, muck raking here, on a professional and a sincere intent to search out a matter for what it is. In other words, to see what it is, if it's true, false, good, or bad. So the person who's doing the right thing here is being accused and being threatened with the law, the legal system. And this right here is the exposing of the billion-dollar fraud crisis in California. Now let's hear for ourselves how these scammers react when you catch them in the criminal behavior. Listen carefully, and again, fair use, fair dealing, public dominion, all rights mentioned and not mentioned, as well as declared and not declared.
Go to the other buildings and find the hospice. You know, this is stupid. You can record me.
Why can't I record you?
You cannot.
Oh, okay. Well, we were looking for Guardian of Angels.
Well, did you see any Guardian of Angels on the doors?
No, but they received and billed $4.8 million.
Well, it's their problem.
But we do have yours, actually.
Mine?
Yeah, yours is a KMD, right?
Yes.
So we do have yours, and a lot of these.
How many millions did I need?
We don't have your official number because it wasn't posted on the CMS website or on their data set.
And you're from where?
My name's Nick Shirley. They actually made like all this information and the data public for everyone to see what was going on in our country because so much corruption's happening.
Yes.
But it doesn't look like we could find any of your information from the CMS data set, but we do have you here. So is that concerning that your information wasn't reported to the CMS?
What information?
To the CMS data set as far as the billing and how much money you guys receive from Medicare and Medicaid?
First you have...
You see the body language and the reaction there? They're trying to shrug it off and scoff at it.
to research.
Oh, that's what we have right here.
No. It's a piece of paper.
Oh, we went through all the data sets.
And here's their pridefulness, their nature. Oh, they're just bearing false witness against me. Oh, they're liars. Oh, they went out from among us. You know, all these ways of defaming someone else to discredit them and justify what they're doing.
If you want to learn, I'll teach you how to get after the crooked people.
Okay, help us. We'd love for you to help us.
First, you have to research, like you said the name, and you have a number, right?
Yes.
And you come to my office, it's a brand new office, and you don't come to a building like this, like from like FBI.
Another part right there. They tell you, oh no, let's not do this out here. Let's go over here to the corner somewhere and talk about it. Let's iron it out here in person. Because they're anticipating what's going to happen. That's why they want to do things either behind scenes or laugh it off. And when worse comes to worse, and they can't win you over with their slick behavior, they resort to becoming aggressive. Aggressive as in making threats towards your life type of behavior. In worst case scenario, making threats of the law against you. Here's another behavior of theirs. You ask the hard questions. In other words, the questions that must be asked, the important questions to get to the bottom of the matter. Here's another way how they behave.
Increase in hospice care here.
Maybe I don't know if everybody likes the business. What could I say? I do this from 1997.
Good for you. And so, since you've been in the industry for so long, why do you think we're seeing 1,000% increase in hospice care here inside of LA in
I
California?
cannot answer that question because
Looks like they're all running out of here. Everyone's heading out. We just gotta answer some questions, and why can't?
who's running out?
What? Look at all the people scattering out of here. They're all here just a minute ago.
It's strange, there's, over 80 people connected to one of these dormant motel rooms with no furniture, and they're, getting $30,000 per person. It's millions of dollars. We come and knock on the doors, an abandoned shell.
See? You ask what needs to be asked to find out what's really going on, and they scatter. They excuse themselves. They do whatever they can to try to flee the scene. Now here's a major piece right here where they flip and they resort to doing criminal activity while hiding it behind a certain front, therefore exposing their criminal intentions to do further attempts to not only hide their criminal activity, but also commit it the more so by trying to dispatch, either by the use of violence, intimidation, threats, harassment, and so forth, but especially by the use of law against those who search out the matter to find out what it is of.
Well, can we just ask you guys some questions? We might be able to get you some business. Are you the head honcho here or what?
No, you're the head honcho. Get out of my from here. Give me my
Wait,
phone.
I thought you don't know who these people were though.
Give me my phone.
Alrighty. Light Angel.
Hold on, come here.
Oh, oh, I'm running. Look at him, what?
I'm here.
I'm right here. I'm right here, sir.
I'm here.
What's going on?
Call 911.
For what?
Call 911.
For what? Sir, we're just asking questions, and if you want to answer them, you can answer them.
Call 911.
We're just looking for Guardian of Angels Hospice.
We're American citizens, right?
We're looking for Guardian of Angels.
You're American citizens, right?
Of course, are
Do
you?
you see any Guardian of Angels in here?
Not yet. We're
Then get out of here.
That's what we're looking for, sir.
There's like 100 doors.
You see how they switched it around? You see what's going on here, people? So not only has Yah deserves the glory, that is their alias on social media here, the internet, but also others out there too, such as Rob Lepskin, as well as Charles Dow Jr., and others have resorted to lawfare and other forms of threats when they have been scamming people, doing criminal activities, and someone makes an effort to hold them accountable accordingly. And these individuals here, all together with their groups and their networks, are not only evil, lack of credibility, and have destroyed their own brand and frame of character, but they have done so to the maximum effort of doing criminal activity for financial gain and benefit at the harm, loss, as well as loss, the troubles of others. So reaffirming on this here, if I could find the exact, let's see here, that may not be it. This right here is sold too. Brainwaves Advice Topics LLC is not an actual LLC. Oh no. Oh no. It's a fake company. It is not even a DBA. Lie to look legit and professional. Also, Brainwaves Twitch account gamer. That's bad when you have a so-called businessman and a law enforcement officer, quote unquote, that runs a fake LLC or a fraudulent LLC, and on their spare time plays video games. And when they get on social media, after grifting people a lot of money, scamming them for their money, and who knows where else they get their money from too, they get to live their life of luxury, of buying fancy cars. Hold on, let's go to it. Now this right here, they have been jumping in and out of different vehicles, from a Mustang muscle car to a luxury car sold
What's up, y'all? Just a little quick video to piss off the haters to make them mad. You already.
But he's supposedly preaching to you the plan of salvation. But he's getting all this money to buy fancy cars and fancy lifestyle and everything else. Fancy phones, not only one, but two fancy phones. While playing video games and being on the internet for hours. Hours, you say? Hold on, he moved it. He has a video from months ago that's 10 hours long. Well, let's find it here, okay? Let's look for it. Again, as mentioned earlier, the originator of the original video has the rights to not only copy strike, but if possible, but to potentially put legal charges and requirements and so forth against the song here for copying a video title by about close to 90 to 95% that range to completely copycat their quote-unquote content, their material. Them here, the song is using it for financial gain, while the other is doing what they are meant to do. And again, these individuals who are narcissists are telling you who they are right here up front. And then they speak about it in third person, trying to make you think that they're so smart, so spiritual, and so gifted, when the whole time they have been talking about themselves left and right. Would you hate going to a service on Saturday or Sunday to hear someone talk about themselves instead of telling you what you need to hear and what you need, such as hands laid upon you to be healed in the name of Jesus, demons cast out of you in the name of Jesus, to be water baptized and receive prayer, as well as to pray to receive the Ruach HaKodesh, the authentic Holy Spirit, to meet what is required in the New Testament and what was talked about in the prophets. This individual right here, Desan, as well as the rest of them who are narcissists and criminals and domestic terrorists. They get on here and they tell you who they are as it is, where they learn how to manipulate and deceive people and take their money and control their minds and affect their minds greatly. And they get up here and be pretenders to lie to you as if they're going to change, and they go back to doing what they're doing and keep people stuck in their cycle and their deception just long enough to where they got them in their minds to control them and use them. And again here, Yah deserves the glory, continuously working alongside with them to push these narratives that lack truth to them by making allegations and as well as defamation and other things that pertain and connect to it, and causing drama to run these skits of so-called reality TV through a social media platform. And the major part here too, it was already revealed what they're really about. Right here, another example. All this money they have been getting from scamming people and doing what they do behind the scenes, all this criminal activity, and getting their reward of it, being a scam artist. They have all this money to drive a muscle car, then to turn it in for a luxury car, and then get out here and spread more drama.
Ways, you know.
He's preaching to you money when people who are actually applying the scriptures are preaching to you and teaching you, proclaiming and telling you that you must repent and be born again, because all of us have messed up in this life from the beginning and must be redeemed and have our names written down in the Lamb's Book of Life. And those of you who have messed up before, haven't been in the faith, your name written down, apologize to the Father who's in heaven to get it right with Him. He's preaching to you that he has all these nice things and then trying to use the scriptures to make people think from a surface level, when in reality, he's been doing a lot of criminal activity to jump in and out of vehicles. If someone gets out here on the internet and starts flexing vehicles while claiming that they serve the Father who's in heaven, that's a serious red flag. And if you're, from the FBI or whatever organization you may be from, even the IRS and so forth, including ICE, Homeland Security and so forth, it's worth the investigation to dig into these financial records of theirs, because they have suspicious spending habits and activities. Who's funding them? Where are they getting all this money? Now let me show you something that's very telling of their character. Again, fair use, fair dealing, public dominion, all rights mentioned, not mentioned, it's also declared and not declared.
See that dog barking? Y'all see that? See, look, watch this, let me show you. It's not about me, this is about everybody else. You know what I'm saying? I know the garage junkie, I gotta clean it up. I got some time when I'm gonna be off next week. See, look, watch this, let me show you. See that, look, y'all see that dog barking? Look at this. See that dog barking? Y'all see that? That's that good energy. Y'all see the little dog right there? Always be barking when I pop out. Y'all see that? Y'all see that? I'm not even outside the garage.
Pause. Let's use our heads reasonably here. Let's talk about it. This is 2026, and there's all this information coming out here, okay? How do we soon forget that if your dog barks at someone for certain reasons, that should tell you and inform you what's going on? Like, for example, if you're walking your dog and you meet someone who's of a good character, even born again, and they can sense the presence of the Father, and they, as a good taught pet, a good taught dog, are around it and perceive it, the presence of the Father, they may bark and be friendly. I can verify from personal experience as well that I've gone to places and animals have been friendly towards me. And then there are other areas where, of course, animals have been taught very well to be aggressive and then try to jump against the fence and try to jump into the street because of how their owners have trained them. So we keep it realistic here, okay? There are owners of animals that teach them how to be aggressive, to be very effective security animals, security pets. So for the common sense of this, the general understanding, if someone was to jump over someone's fence to try to do criminal activities, that dog would be trained to chase them down and to bite them. Obvious, right? And then again, as mentioned a few seconds earlier, there are animals trained to be domestic, to not be on security protocol or training. They, when they sense someone's of a good nature, they're able to bark, wag their tail, to sniff and smell the person, and able to receive that person openly. And their owners will look at you and smile too and socialize with you too. So people who understand and know what this means, if their dog or their animal likes you, that means the owner can trust you, be safe around you, and socialize with you. But if you're an evil individual, you have some bad nature and bad intents about yourself, animals can perceive that. They can detect it. So this guy says he's so good and moral and everything else, but if your dog doesn't like them, and you know your dog well, or your animal well, and they sit there going towards them, someone with some kind of sense, some common sense even, will realize, hey, wait a minute. They say they're a good person, they're this and that and so forth, but my dog or this animal doesn't like them. I should take note of that right there. I should take a very clear mental note of that. And even though they speak very smooth and very kindly, do not believe them because they have 7 abominations in their mind, their heart. This is how some of these criminals are. They will talk very nice and very smooth to you, but deep down, when they got you where they want you, oh no, it's bad from there. That's why you must know, learn, and test to prove who you're interacting with and dealing with, to avoid being scammed and to avoid having individuals like these here that have been mentioned and not mentioned to gain stock and tell people over the internet or off the internet through various means such as the smartphone and encrypted text, as well as speaking in code over the internet and so forth, to go try to do harm towards people in different states, in different regions and so forth. This is why you have to do your research, because there's criminals out here who will lie who they are about to get money, gain control of people, and use them to do criminal activities. This is why you cannot, again, this is why you cannot trust warlocks and witches of all the different flavors, including warlocks and witches who know how to quote you the book, the scriptures, but they do not live it. They are going to do their criminal activities and influence the minds of people to go out there and do criminal activities and cause them harm and loss, and even swindle them of lots of money through their deception and many lies, and so forth. So again, if you have a dog or animal, they cannot trust them, even though they're talking very good to you, you should take note of that, because that might be a sign to you. They may be up to no good. They may be trying to plot against you to do criminal activities, premeditated criminal actions, and who knows? That might be your sign that you need to ask them to leave your home right now. Because that's the last thing you need, is some kind of thing to evilly affect your mind, to cause you to have bad things to happen to you. You want to avoid it, and if you believe and you're in the faith, to pray against it as well too. Let me show you how badly influenced, indoctrinated, as well as how they behave and talk of such individuals here, how much different their view of reality is. They live in a distorted fantasy world because of what's put in their head and what's influencing them to give them a mindset, a thought pattern, an attitude, and so forth. Now listen carefully.
Oh, yeah. See that? Oh, now all of a sudden, see that? All of a sudden the door is closed. You see that? I want y'all to see that. The whole time I've been streaming. Wait, now, I can't with these people. So, hey, listen. I just wanted to do this for some.
So let's keep it down to earth here. If someone's up to no good, and they got evil in their heart, in their minds, why would you want to live? That's right, why would you want to live around a weirdo and even a potential criminal next door? When you're just trying to get through your life, and they're over there looking, their heads bent down, and they're looking left and right, all weirded out, thinking someone's trying to do something to them. And then you hear them from a distance sneak dissing you, calling you a monitoring spirit, and this and that, and some kind of. And these individuals get out here and they say a bunch of nonsense. They do witchcraft to influence the minds of people, to use them to do criminal activities and to fund their criminal enterprises and so forth. Now another unhealthy, abnormal, and weird, bizarre behavior that is not found in people of any civil capacity. What is someone doing making a 10-hour long video about someone else? They sat there for 10 hours plus to talk about someone for clicks and views, while mishandling the scriptures on top of it too. Now they also say that New Breed is a so-called convicted felon. So can someone do the research on these individuals, including Donald W., who goes by the alias and is also hiding his back history? Are these individuals felons? Do they have criminal charges on their records? Do they have criminal history they have been convicted by or convicted for? And this right here, the Lady Stop Lying video, that's against the woman of the faith who has been targeted by them. They are running a PR campaign to get their viewers to listen to them and to save face. And again, they target people of the brown copper color skin, the Hebrew Israelites, so they can grift them and use them for their plots and schemes. And again, this lady here, Yad, the Source of Glory, making false allegations as well as defamation. All of them all together doing these skits that are pretty much, again, reality TV done through social media for clicks, views, and money. And because Donald W. of the Wrinkle TV Reactions YouTube channel, who makes, again, from over $13,000 to about close to $60,000 a month. And that's not even talking about what he gets paid behind the scenes and underneath the table and so forth. Obviously, he's got to be making close to $100,000 in that range. And with all that money he has, he spends it on fancy clothes, spends it on fast food, spends it on fancy vehicles himself, like the song does here, or has done, and buys fancy video and recording equipment and prompts. Where else is this money going towards? Because these individuals are together with them, and it's a plausibility, and it's encouraging to say that these individuals, it would not be a surprise if what they're doing behind the scenes, their criminal activities, money is being slid their direction. They're getting paid underneath paid behind the scenes, however much it may be. But they want to get out here, and when you hold them accountable, they want to cry, I'll take you to court. They want to make legal threats. They want to make death threats. They want to make videos and intimidate you, harass you, tell people to, gang stalk you, to follow you in traffic, to follow you in the park, and monitor you, especially through the internet. And when you use social media to go follow you, to go monitor you, and everything else, stalk you and do weirdo stuff, they go to the very deep end of their criminal activities because they're retaliating and they're being exposed for who they are. Because if they were actually living by the book or the scriptures, they would have behaved themselves civilly and act of becoming as quote-unquote model citizens. Now him here, claiming to be a cop, has helped Floridian Rollo, who was caught in their behavior of violating a lady, and then taking money from a lady of the YouTube name or the YouTube channel Rebel for Almighty, as well as also doing criminal activity towards this woman of the faith here. They get on here and they say that they were so busy taking a new phone here.
Brand new fold phone, right? Brand new fold phone, okay? Brand new. Still got the box right here. Y'all see it? What does this box say? Galaxy Z Fold 7. Brand spanking new. Now
Pause. So let's go to this here. This is the phone he was showing off here. A phone that back last year in that time range was about a little cheaper by a few $100s in that range. A phone that's almost $1,000, people. Almost $1,000. Where do you get $1,000 to purchase, to buy a brand new phone like that? Well, sitting on your do nothing for hours on end, playing video games, getting off your do nothing to go to eat fast food, order fast food, buy luxury vehicles, fancy cars to drive around, to flex, then switch it in for something else. That's not clean money there, people. And on top of it too, they had to have the latest and the greatest gear, gadgets, and everything else. That's how you can tell some of these criminals are. They are very flashy, manipulative, and if they are male of the male gender, or they are males, they will also hate, harass, as well as defame women. And if it comes from bad to worse, they may have also desires towards those of their own gender. And this all piled up behind one of their own. Let's not forget this right here too. Lester B has taught his viewers and those who especially listen to him to tell the women or the ladies to go insult and threaten the men who speak up, confront the injustice, the lawlessness, the criminal activity, and especially when they refuse to be quiet and get programmed to be used as a tool for the criminal activities. So when someone decides to stand for what is just, moral, good, true, and right, they are ostracized by evil individuals that have evil in their hearts, and these evil individuals towards the good and the just, these evil individuals are up to no good and want to do criminal activities, and especially towards those who are good, just, and true, that are exemplary, and even model citizens that others may see, learn, and apply their example instead. Therefore, also taking this legal document, the scriptures, from Genesis to Revelation, at the very least in this matter, Going to Ephesians 5:11. Have no works, have no fellowship, have no friendship, have no partnership, have no agreements with the works of darkness. Have no agreements with criminals, but rather expose them. Even if it comes down to the least denominator of you living a good, moral, true, upright, and just lifestyle, especially being born again and being able to do so because you have been born again, your name written down in the Lamb's Book of Life. To make an exact contrast to exemplify what the kingdom of heaven is. All these legal documents that go back to the scriptures, and all these things of the world that are good, just, and true, and right, that ties back to the scriptures. To be an example to others, so that they may know the Father and the kingdom and what it's about, and glorify the Father who is in heaven, who made all things, and especially us as well too. So that the distinction of good and what is bad is made clear. That those who are doing good compared to those who are doing evil. So that you know a day to night difference. So these evildoers who have been doing crime have gone so far with their criminal activities to cause harm and loss where they can, possible, in many chargeable criminal activities, to the point that here's the recommended or otherwise offered solutions or remedies to the matter. All these individuals here, in their groups, along with their networks, who they are networking with, can be held accountable. And let's make it very clear, a good amount of these individuals here are foreigners. Some of these foreigners come to America from Europe, from Africa, from the islands as well too. They don't know how to behave themselves, and like unto the Somalis that were scamming and committing fraud, they look for groups to get involved in or with, and they go along with those groups or those associations. They get out here, they deceive people, they do their dark arts to trick them, and in turn, what else do they do? They also try to enrich themselves at the expense of the public by scamming them. So in conclusion, they can be held for lots of money, and if possible, even to hand over all their assets and value to pay up for the losses of others, and if need be, to be deported back to their own countries or where they need to be sent off into, and put in prison for the needed or necessary amount of time, however long it needs to be, and so forth. And a very interesting finding here in the many other editions of higher tiers of law here, those who are law enforcement officers who go out here and do criminal activities can be held up to to the highest extent of judgment, and that sums up the matter here.